Everybody. I hope you had a good St. Patrick's Day. As you can tell, it's still St. Patrick's Day for me, and I hope you had a good one. Anyhow, so welcome back from spring break. Beautiful weather outside there now. Finally, and you have your final exam. And let's see. Let's get the class calendar up here first. First things first, and we will share that. Okay, so here is our week, the 17th through the 22nd. Your final exam is available to you on the 17th when you see this recording, and it will be due on the 22nd. So you've got 6 days to work on this, 6 days. So it should be plenty of time to get this done. And I'm hopeful that you can take some time to do a good job and make it your own. That's always my goal for you for this class. Make it your own. Do the same thing with this final exam. Parts of it are pretty boring, but parts of it should be pretty creative. And I'm hopeful that you'll take advantage of the creative part of the exam. So let's look right at the exam now. And here is the exam, and you can see you've got until the 22nd at midnight, basically, to get it done. It's an open book and open notes exam. What that means is that you can use any resources at your disposal except other people. So, I can't, take-home exam, I can't stop you. So instead, what I want you to do is to embrace the resources that are available to you and use them as ways to extend your creativity and do a good job. There's two parts to this exam. The first part is kind of the boring part. I've given you a database that's called Create Jobs, and I'm just going to ask you to do a bunch of different things around that Create Jobs database. You're going to need a MySQL server to do this. You could do it in a cloud-based SQL server, in Amazon, Google, Azure, any cloud-based SQL server you want. You can use a virtual machine that's running MariaDB. You can run MySQL Community Edition on your own laptop. You're also going to need an editor. You can use the MySQL Workbench as an editor for you. That one's pretty easy to work with. You can use visual whatever. And you can use any editor that you want. They're all going to work fine, especially if they have an SQL extension to them. And what is it? Jeez, I just blanked. Come on. Whatever. Darn. And so anyhow, so you're going to need a MySQL server, and you're going to need some sort of editor. Other than that, easy peasy. So what you'll do first is to install MySQL, the database, and we'll do that in just a second here. I've got it in MySQL Workbench. And here it is. All you have to do is to run this file, and it will create all the different tables that you need, and it will populate those tables. Everything worked for me. I just ran this. I don't anticipate any problems with it, but here it is. And once you run this thing, then you're going to have a database that you can write your queries against. I did make one little change in here, and you'll know this is old. I don't have to hide that from you, but it doesn't matter. And the change was that this used to be quarters. I changed it to semesters. if there's any problem where you run into some place where I missed a QTR code or something like that, that's what I just did. And so just to help you out, if that's what happened, if you run into problems, that might be it. I don't think so, but there you go. And so anyhow, so here's the database that you're going to be working with. And what you're going to be doing is to make a few changes to the database. First install it, whatever, and then you're gonna make some changes. So increase the salaries offered by 20%. How do you do that? Well, you need to write a query that's going to update that table and change the salaries, increase them by 20%. What I want to see out of this, what the deliverable on this is that I want you to in some sort of document. I don't care if it's a PDF, I don't care if it's a .docx, I don't care if it's a .sql, I don't care what format it is, I don't care about double space versus single space, I don't care about any of that stuff. I want a document that shows me the query that you used to do this and the result set from the query. It's all I want. Okay. I can just look at that and I can see whether or not you successfully did that. And the same goes for everything in the whole exam. You can turn this in, since there's two parts, you could turn in two documents or you can turn in one. I don't care. As long as I can see your work and I can see what you did, that's all that matters. And same thing. So, make a few changes and delete some records, add records for some different employers, and then answer some questions. What's the average salary offered? What's the average minimum number of hours offered? Blah blah blah. Just a bunch of really basic questions. Now, question 11, which I wish was on the other page, but it's not. So it's come up with your own cool query. What I want you to do is to think about this. What kind of a cool query can you come up with? Doesn't have to be way hard. It can be not that hard. It just needs to be interesting, and it's your choice of what you want to do for that. Okay, that's part one of the exam. It shouldn't be very hard, should be pretty straightforward. Part two of the exam, I used to use a customer database, and it had 3 or 4 tables in it or whatever, and it was really boring and it was really small potatoes and everything. So what I've changed to this time is I'm going to have you use the Look e-commerce database from Google BigQuery. Now, the Look starts with a T, and all the public data sets that are listed in Google BigQuery, and there's hundreds of them, are listed in alphabetical order. So you're going to have to scroll down a little ways to get there. I tried searching for the Look, yeah, because it says, search, and it didn't come up. But if you scroll down, you'll find it. So take your time, scroll down. Here's a screenshot of what I was looking for. Now you can just, make this bigger. You can, to see what my screen looked like, make sure you're on the right database. You can do, anything you want with this. It's all good. I also gave you a couple of links to articles about how to use this database. This is a public data set that's kind of, manufactured data, but it's pretty realistic. And so a lot of people who are trying to build their credibility for their career in the field of e-commerce analytics use this database. They say, here's an example of the work that I can do, employer, and this is what I've done. So, there's a couple of really good articles out there that show you how to use this database. Now, I do it a little bit different. You can imagine I put a little spin on it just to make it so that you're not copying, pasting queries from these other articles. But these articles will help you and give you some guidance and show you kind of other people have done with this. I also included an ER diagram for the look. And this ER diagram shows you all those relations between the tables. You could have figured this out, but I thought, I'll give you a little start on this and help you out a little bit. Okay, so now you've got this and you're ready to go. What I want you to do is, I gave you a scenario here, and the scenario is that you work for the Look is an e-commerce company. It's highly decentralized management system, places a lot of authority in the managers of the different distribution centers. So, we all know Amazon. We all know that they have different distribution centers all over the place, and that those are really just used as fulfillment. You get an order comes in, they take it to the nearest the distribution center, take the stuff off the rack, put it in a box, and send it out for delivery. But I want you to humor me on this just a little bit, and the humoring comes in the form of I want you to pretend that the managers of these distribution centers are the ones who do the marketing for things coming out of their distribution centers. So if you were the manager of the Amherst, New York, the Look distribution center, you would be the one trying to figure out how to market stuff that's sold by the Amherst, New York distribution center. That's the one little flip in here. So all of your queries are going to be comparative things, looking at what's the difference between distribution centers. So that's going to be a central part of all of your queries. And of course, that part is not in all of the examples because it's not the way it really works, but close enough for us. And so anyhow, so that's what we're going to do here. Let's see. Such that each distribution center manager is responsible for the sales from their center. With this in mind, I want you to choose 3 of the 10 distribution centers. Don't care which ones, any ones you want. Let's see. As the nexus for your comparative analysis. The managers of the 3 distribution centers know each other. You can make up your scenario. They went out and played golf together and said, let's compare how our different customers work and, blah, blah, blah. And one of them said, I got this great analyst. They can do this analysis for us and, blah, blah, blah. That's our scenario. And what they're really concerned about is this issue of canceled orders. What's the difference between the people who go through and actually buy things from us compared to those who go through and use the same server resources and everything, and then at the end they cancel their order? That's really annoying for e-commerce companies, and it just drives them crazy. So that's what I want you to dig into, this comparative analysis of orders that were actually fulfilled versus orders that were canceled. We're going to talk about demographics of the people who do this and all of that kind of stuff. Products, which products are more likely to be canceled versus which ones are more likely to be fulfilled. Though that's our analysis in this exam. So let's see. Okay, blah 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 blah. The company is trying to better align their advertising budget to concentrate on those customers who are most likely to actually make purchases and not cancel their orders. The managers of your chosen distribution centers want to know how they compare to each other so that they can better align their advertising resources with targeting customers who will actually make a purchase. Okay, there's your scenario. Now, deliverables, I want you to please use the questions below to guide your analysis, not just do these. I want you to think of this as a huge problem for e-commerce companies. And this is a very realistic question for them to ask of any analyst in their employ. So how do we, cut down on the number of canceled orders compared to the number of actually, fulfilled orders? Let's see, the goal of your analysis: develop a helpful set of recommendations for the managers. This might take the form of graphic elements. It's probably a good way to explain things. You're the analyst, they're the managers. They want you to help them make decisions. Accompanied by the queries that you wrote to gather your data. Real world, you wouldn't show them the queries. But for this class, you need to show me your queries. Let's see. I'm hopeful that you'll find this to be an interesting, useful assignment that can become part of your professional portfolio. Just like these other people who examples of their work I've given you, they use as part of their professional portfolios. I'd like for you to do quality enough work to do that too. So, and that'll give you some questions. As part of your analysis, you should develop a basic demographic comparison between the distribution centers and how their customers who complete purchases compare to those who cancel. No Albert Einstein there. If we assume that the traffic source of a user, I would call them customers, but this database calls them users, let's see, is a good proxy for the advertising source that induced the potential user to come to our website. How effective are the different traffic sources at generating sales? So in the data set, they call it traffic source, where the user came from. I'm choosing to use that as a proxy for advertising. So if they came to us from another website, then we could assume that there was advertising on that website that brought them to us. If they came to us from a Google search, let's assume that we paid for advertising to be on that Google search that induced them to come to our site. So that's two kind of little bending of the rules here, but that's all. And let's see, do some product categories, departments, or brands have higher cancellation rates than others? Okay, you'll see that those are categories in the database. Provide background and what products have the most canceled orders and what traffic source has the most canceled orders. So that may be a combination. Look at our products and the traffic source that people came to buy that product. Was there a combination there? We can look at canceled orders by traffic source. We can look at them by product. Can we combine that? That might be a good analysis. Based on your analysis, what recommendations can you make to the managers as they try to decrease the rate of canceled orders? That would be the standard outcome that people would want. How do we cut down our canceled orders? You're the analyst. Tell me. Okay, that's your exam. Remember this part, just like the other part, I don't care if it comes as a .docx, I don't care if it's a .pdf, I don't care if it's, whatever it is. I don't care how it gets to me. Just make sure that I can see your work. And that's all I'm looking for. You've got until Saturday, and you'll turn this into my courses as some sort of a document. You can do screenshots and post and paste them into a Word doc. Don't care. Just make sure that I can see your work, and you can show me, the interesting things that you came up with. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me. I hope this is pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be any surprise. And good luck, everybody. And I will talk to you soon. I've done a video about the project. Project is coming up next. Be sure to look back at that video I did before about the project. Maybe I'll do another one. So anyhow, take care, everybody, and I will see you soon.